This is First Coast News at noon.
How many of you? 13. Yeah, 13. Brilliant.
A miracle in Thailand. After 17 harrowing days, all 12 boys and their soccer coach are freed. The heroic efforts of the rescuers being celebrated around the world, and remembering the life of the Thai Navy SEAL that died trying to lay oxygen lines. The next step for those incredible young boys now being taken care of in the hospital.
Mission accomplished. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Katie Jeffries. After being stuck in a dark, damp cave for more than 2 weeks, all 12 members of a Thailand boys soccer team and their coach have been rescued. Thai Navy SEALs said the operation moved faster than planned. Now all the boys and the coach are in good health, but they're on their way to the hospital to be checked out. And we've just learned that the medic and the 3 SEALs who stayed with the boys, they are now out of that cave as well. So let's get straight out to NBC's Bill Neely in Thailand.
What seemed impossible just over a week ago. Bill Neely, NBC News, Northern Thailand.
So here's how they pulled off these rescues. Teams were wearing full-face scuba masks, wetsuits, boots, and helmets, guiding the boys and the coach through 2.5 miles of cave. They were connected to oxygen from the Navy diver's tank, and then they were all guided by a static rope along the entire path. There were extra tanks filled with air that were placed along that route as well. And that brings us to the man who helped place those crucial oxygen tanks. We want to take a moment to remember the Thai Navy SEAL who died during this. Saman Gunman. Now, he placed those oxygen tanks along the exit route, and he himself ran out of air. He volunteered for this task because he wanted to see those boys rescued. He was 38 years old, and he's survived by his wife. In the news here locally, lifeguards are encouraging people to please stay out of the water amid dangerous rip currents. Just yesterday, a Good Samaritan helped rescue a swimmer who went into cardiac arrest. These are some pictures that were sent to us by a viewer along Porpoise Point. And Tropical Storm Chris still churning in the Atlantic, just east of the Carolinas. Though there is no threat to landfall here, our beaches are feeling the impact hundreds of miles away. This is a live look here at Jacksonville Beach. Now, the storm is causing those severe rip currents out there. Our storm expert meteorologist Lauren Routenkrantz, she's joining us with the very latest on all of this. Lauren.
Yes, that's exactly right. We're going to do to our forecast here at home in the next several days, Katie.
Justin, Florida Governor Rick Scott has chosen 2 people to replace the 2 suspended Jacksonville City Council members. Jacoby Pittman will take over for Katrina Brown in District 8. She is the president and CEO of the Clara White Mission. And Terrence Freeman will take over District 10 for Reggie Brown. He was most recently an aide to Council President Aaron Bowman. Katrina Brown and Reggie Brown were suspended last month after being indicted on federal fraud charges. The replacements will serve the rest of their terms through 2019 unless Governor Scott lifts the suspensions. Landfill in Georgia for the 4th straight day, looking for clues in the disappearance of a mother of 3 from Nassau County. Jolene Cummings has been missing since mid-May. She went missing on Mother's Day. Police have been searching that landfill in Georgia since Saturday morning, but they've narrowed the area down to about the size of a football field. And the focus still remains on finding a white plastic bag and small trash can. Authorities say that Cummings' co-worker Kimberly Kessler was seen on surveillance video throwing the items into a dumpster. Right now, she's the only suspect in this case. Some changes are coming to a Confederate memorial in the nation's oldest city. It's not coming down, but St. Augustine will be adding some context to it. The monument was built back in 1879. Its purpose is to recognize the Confederate soldiers who were killed in the Civil War. Last night, the commission voted to add 4 new plaques to the monument. Each plaque will have its own theme and be used to describe the significance of the monument. Last night, the City Commission heard from a lot of residents for nearly 2 hours, some arguing that it needs to be left alone, while others say it needs to be torn down altogether.
A bunch of lies on it. They use the word white supremacy. It's just a tear down of our history, and it's just something I disagree with.
Lipstick on a pig. Putting lipstick on a pig is still a pig. They were traitors to the United States of America. They seceded from the United States and they fought to maintain slavery.
In the end, the commission agreed to move forward with the recommended changes. The town of Lottie will no longer be known as a speed trap. Today, AAA will officially remove the speed trap designation from the small town. Lottie on Highway 301 has been designated a speed trap for really as long as anybody can remember. It was actually the last one in America. Now, the police chief, Shane Bennett, worked to get the title removed, and it's happening. The official announcement is expected later on today. We have long been talking about how the Players' Championship will be moving up to March this year, but now we finally have the official dates. It'll be March 11th through the 17th in 2019. It'll still be at TPC Sawgrass, but make sure you write down those new dates in your calendar. Jacksonville Jaguars are now accepting nominations for in-game recognitions of military members and first responders. They can be active duty service members or veterans. If you'd like to nominate someone to be recognized at a Jags home game this season, you can do so right now over on firstcoastnews.com or on the First Coast News app. Speaking of the Jags, Jag star Leonard Fournette is taking an act of kindness to an all-new level. He's decided to pay college tuition for his former college trainer. The Louisiana State student Jane sent out a tweet about how she was struggling to pay for her senior year tuition, even though she has 2 jobs. She said it would be $10,000, and a Washington Redskins player offered to pay $1,000, and Fournette, he offered to pay the rest. Governor Scott is issuing a state of emergency over a bloom of algae along the river in southwest Florida. He made the announcement after visiting Cape Coral. There, he got a firsthand look at the algae lurking in the waterways. The state of the emergency will help fund research efforts and fight that bloom. Just last week, we reported on algae concerns in parts of the St. Johns River as well. Checking our other top stories around Florida today, a Disney World employee killed on the job in an industrial accident near the Pop Century Resort. Orange County deputies say the man was in his late 30s and pronounced dead at the scene. Disney called it a tragic accident, and they say they are working to learn more about what happened. Gatorland says that a father and son, they got stuck on a zip line ride over the weekend. Look at this. Some cell phone video shows the man and his child stuck 40 feet above a group of alligators. The manager blamed wind gusts for slowing the riders to a stop, but added that due to the pair's weight, they were stuck for longer than most stranded riders. Now, a staffer eventually came out to meet them midair, and the 2 got down safely. And Gatorland says the 2 were never in danger, and they add that sometimes this happens from time to time. And check this out. Atlantic Beach Police posted this just about 20 minutes ago. The Public Works and Animal Control team rescued a dog trapped in a deep culvert along Jackson Road. Neighbors say they think that dog had been trapped there for several days. The dog was microchipped. The owner says he went missing 6 months ago. Then she was 100 pounds when she went missing. When they found her, she only weighed 44 pounds. But thankfully, they'll be reunited soon. And awesome work, guys. Well, we will be right back with a political showdown that's beginning a day after President Trump makes his Supreme Court pick. We're taking a closer look at the nominee and what it could take to get him on the bench. Plus, dramatic video of a man being rescued after a shark attack off the Florida coast. The pick is in. President Trump announced last night that he is nominating Judge Brett Kavanaugh for the Supreme Court. Now the Senate goes into a knockdown, drag-out fight over his confirmation. The Republicans' razor-thin majority won't matter if they can work together, but should they need the help from a red state Democrat, all bets could be off for Kavanaugh. Now, he's 53 years old, married with 2 daughters. He's a Yale graduate who served on the D.C. Circuit Court since 2006 and clerked for Justice Anthony Kennedy, who he would be replacing. Nikki Carvajal reports from our nation's capital.
Good morning.
Today's Supreme Court nominee, C News, Washington.
We are also learning more about a crash that sent actor George Clooney to the hospital. The star was injured after his motorcycle was struck while traveling in Italy. The 57-year-old has been headed to a film set when he was hit by a car. Now, Clooney's injuries were reportedly not very serious, but TMZ is reporting that the star was traveling about 60 miles an hour at the time of the crash and was thrown about 20 feet. Dramatic video of a Georgia man being pulled back into a boat after being bitten by a shark. Now, this is some video from the Florida Keys. The man was bitten around 1:30 Saturday afternoon while snorkeling in a coral reef state park in Key Largo. 49-year-old was rescued by a nearby boat crew, and the injuries there do appear to be on his leg, and we understand that he's now recovering from this. Wildlife officers and sheriff's deputies have captured, look at this thing, 13-foot alligator at a Florida park where at least one dog has been killed. Officials with the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office captured this gator on Sunday at a park and nature center. A winch was used to pull that gator safely from the water. I mean, look how huge it is before it was taken away. Officials say the captured gator, it will be euthanized, and the gator attacked 2 dogs just last weekend. One dog was critically injured and had to be euthanized. Officials say it may be the largest gator that their team has ever been called in to have to wrangle.
Now, weather with your First Coast News storm experts, powered by AC Designs.
Wouldn't be a newscast in Florida if we didn't have a shark and a gator story.
Exactly right. You know what? I was looking at that shark attack video just to see the blue waters behind it.
It's true.
If you've never been down to the Keys, that
don't
makes me want to get down there.
Don't let that story scare you off.
I was
the
going
Keys
to
are
say,
beautiful.
and actually, they're not actually attacking. It's an exploratory bite. They don't want to eat us. That's another story. All right, let's get to the weather, folks, because it's a beautiful day out there. You know.
So there's a lot of history here on the First Coast. If you've lived here a while, you know this. And this week we're looking at the hidden history of several local cemeteries. Right in the heart of St. Augustine, it's one of the oldest graveyards in the entire state. It's called Tolomato. And 1 acre space is even home to some of the city's early settlers. Our Alex Ositis shows us around this buried history.
Time only seems to matter for Alex Ositis, First Coast News, on your side.
That's pretty interesting. Now, another thing about Tolomato, you can see those above ground graves there. That's because the water table is higher in some spots, so it was safer to bury than above than below. So coming up tomorrow on Good Morning Jacksonville, our Alex Ositis, he's going to show us the resting place for one of the first African-American doctors in Florida, and that's right here in Jacksonville. Well, coming up, a sheep on the loose. See how officers tried to round up this animal. It's a rodeo escapee. The video's hilarious. This is coming up. Oh, this is a contender for video of the day. An escaped sheep led police on a wild chase in Massachusetts. Mansfield police officers were involved in this dramatic pursuit of an escaped sheep on Sunday morning. Now, the sheep actually escaped from the New England Rodeo on Friday. 2 officers, they really tried their hardest to corral this animal, but she just slipped through their fingers. Now, the sheep was last seen taking a turn here, running into the woods. Look at the officers chasing him. And gone. They haven't been able to find her since.
I feel like it's not going that fast, is it? Could you just start chasing after it on foot?
Could you say she's on the lam now?
I don't know, but she's saying bye.